Hey, if you're sitting there wondering whether you should drop a few $100 on a portable workstation or keep using that aging laptop that's already struggling with your CAD files, I totally get it. You don't want to waste money on something that sounds slick on paper but ends up being a disappointment in the actual workflow you need. I've spent the last week digging through the specs, checking out the few reviews that are out there, and even watching a couple of demo videos to see how the HP ZBook Ultra G1a handles the kind of day-to-day tasks professionals throw at it. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the big picture. The ZBook Ultra is marketed as a mobile workstation that's thin enough to slide into a backpack but still carries the muscle of a desktop-class CPU. It's built around AMD's Ryzen 9 3900 series, which packs up to 12 cores and supports the AI-accelerated features that HP is pushing with its Copilot Plus branding. For anyone whose daily grind involves heavy multitasking, think 3D rendering, video editing, or running multiple virtual machines, the extra cores can shave minutes off compile times and keep the system from choking when you have a spreadsheet open, a browser with 15 tabs, and a simulation running in the background. Now, who is this machine really for? If you're a freelance architect, a field service engineer who needs to run BIM models on site, or a content creator who travels between client locations and still wants to edit 4K footage without lag, the ZBook Ultra makes sense. The 14-inch WUXGA display, 19201200, is a sweet spot. It's bigger than the typical 13-inch Ultrabook while staying compact enough to fit in a satchel. The extra vertical real estate is actually noticeable when you're scrolling through long timelines in Premiere or reading detailed engineering drawings. The built-in Radeon graphics aren't a dedicated RTX card, but they're tuned for professional workloads and can handle most design software GPU acceleration tasks without breaking a sweat. On the flip side, let's be clear about who should pass on this. If you're primarily a casual user checking email, streaming movies, maybe a bit of Photoshop, the ZBook Ultra is overkill, and you'll be paying a premium for horsepower you'll never tap. Likewise, gamers looking for the highest frame rates in the latest titles will find the integrated Radeon GPU limiting. The machine simply isn't built to compete with a dedicated NVIDIA or AMD GPU in that arena. Finally, budget-conscious students who need a reliable notebook for note-taking and light research will likely find a cheaper student-focused laptop that still offers decent performance. What really sets this unit apart beyond the headline specs is how HP has woven AI into the workflow. The Copilot Plus suite is meant to learn your typical usage patterns and suggest optimizations in real time. In practice, you'll notice the system proactively allocating CPU cores when you launch a heavy application, and it can even suggest power profile tweaks that extend battery life without sacrificing performance. For someone who often forgets to change power settings between high performance and balanced, that's a tangible time saver. It's not a magic wand, but the incremental automation reduces the mental overhead of micromanaging resources. Battery life is a point many people ask about with mobile workstations, and the ZBook Ultra delivers a respectable 8-hour run on a full charge when you're running typical office tasks plus occasional design software. Push it harder, say, rendering a 3D scene or encoding video, and you'll see the number drop to the 5-hour range, which is still enough for a half-day of travel if you keep a charger handy. The 512GB SSD is fast, but it can feel tight if you store large media libraries or multiple project files. I'd recommend pairing it with an external NVMe enclosure or a portable SSD if you foresee needing more than 300 GB of on-device storage. Thermals are a hidden trade-off worth mentioning. The thin chassis does a decent job of dispersing heat under moderate loads, but when you push the CPU to 100% for extended periods, say, a long render, the fan noise becomes noticeable. It's not a screaming turbine, but you'll hear a steady whir that can be mildly distracting in a quiet office or on a shared desk. This is the price of a compact workstation. You get the performance, but you also get a bit of acoustic feedback. If you need absolute silence while recording voiceovers or podcasts, you may want to consider a separate cooling pad or keep the heavy tasks on a stationary desktop. Connectivity-wise, the ZBook Ultra packs the essentials: Thunderbolt 4, USB-C, HDMI 2.0, and a full-size HDMI port. The presence of a dedicated Ethernet jack is a pleasant surprise for a device this slim, and it means you can plug into a wired network on-site without needing an adapter. For professionals who rely on fast, stable transfers like moving large CAD files between machines, the combination of Thunderbolt 4 and Ethernet gives you flexibility. One practical weakness that's easy to overlook is the keyboard layout. Because it's marketed globally, the English keyboard comes without a numeric keypad.